What is up, guys? It's me, Troy, and I'm back again with another video, of course. So today on this Chop It Up, I kind of wanted to talk about Icy Sparks by Gywn Hyman Rubio. I always have to look at her name just to make sure I get it right. Gywn Hyman Rubio, okay, whatever. As I said before in my TBR for the month of August, this book it takes place in the 1950s in rural Kentucky. It is told through the perspective of, it's actually told through the perspective of an older version of Icy Sparks, which is the name of the main character, telling her story, as a child growing up in Kentucky, this Kentucky setting. But the whole hook of the book, if you will, is about her growing up in the South, where she suffers from Tourette Syndrome, and it's pretty much, like I said in my TBR, it's undiagnosed. Her parents died very early on in her life. Both of her parents, particularly her father, had showed signs of mental illness, and it kind of like, she picked it up, of course. Icy Sparks did. Plot-wise, as far as, you have your opening, you have your middle, and then you have your end. This book didn't necessarily go anywhere per se. And what I mean by that is it's split up. Structurally, it's split up into 3 parts. The first part go through Icy Sparks' experience growing up in the South as a 10-year-old. But like I said, her condition is undiagnosed. So, nobody knows what's wrong with her. But, as a child, as a 10-year-old, she's experiencing these episodes where she croaks. She's just finish listening to what I'm saying. But yeah, she croaks and her eyes buck out of her head, and because she is a teen, a small child, she gets teased a lot by her peers. There's even a teacher very early on in this book that just does not like Icy Sparks at all. It's really funny though, because I never actually understood why the teacher didn't like her, but it's just like immediately from the jump, the teacher just does not like this child. I mean, she's not sympathetic to Icy's condition at all. And then in the second part, as you can see, it goes into Icy living inside of a treatment facility with other children her age. There's a girl that suffers from, I forgot what it was called. Actually, I don't think a lot of them, I don't think they gave names to. They were still kind of in their diagnosis period, I guess you can say. But Icy was put in this facility when her principal recognized that she, her running around croaking and cursing people out randomly was, something she couldn't control. Even though I enjoyed this book, especially the first and second chapter, when Icy got older, I was kind of like over her a little, just a touch. But even though I enjoyed this book, I have to say, I don't think it was really like a plot-driven book. You know what I mean? Like, it was really, the setup was just simple. It's like the snow. What is that when you writing the snowflake effect, I guess you can say? Here you are, the reader. You're introduced to this girl. She's growing up in the 1950s. She has a condition that causes her to get in trouble a lot. She's in a lot of conflict with other individuals because of her smart mouth. And bam, go to work. Here's the author. Go to work. Tell us how this works out. It wasn't necessarily a book that, despite Icy's parents being, they died very early on, it wasn't necessarily a book of her trying to overcome the fact that, they suffered from mental illness within themselves and how she was trying to correct that for herself or for her future. It wasn't necessarily about that. I just never quite found what Icy, the writer, and what Icy's motivation was. What was it that we specifically as the readers needed to focus on in order to see whether Icy could, overcome her condition and overcome her circumstances. It was just a matter of us exploring, I guess you can say, who she was, what she was going through, and how she eventually came to find, I guess you can say, like some solace in the fact that she was just so destructive throughout her youth until she discovered that religion was the only core piece that she was missing in order to, and I say that with a little shade, but the only core piece that she was missing to overcome her challenges. And as for Icy herself, she was a hot damn mess. And I loved every single bit of it. But Icy was a bitch. She was. She really was. As a child on 4, she was a bitch. and I loved it. I have got to say, y'all, you know, I was reading this review where someone was talking about, you know, oh, I don't like it, you know, she just curses everywhere, and I was like, girl, shut up. Like, Icy is the bomb. Like, you just so cookie cutter. Like, shut up. Yes, Icy was cussing people out, but it was so freaking funny to me. Like, it was just hilarious to me. I don't know what I mean, I don't live far from Kentucky. I didn't grow up in the 1950s, girl, but I know all about some Southern cursing, we should say, cursing. But yeah, those reviews, they just got on my nerves. Ooh, she just got a big mouth and she just curses everywhere. I just don't like this character. Ooh, it's like, Icy is cool, alright? But really, you know, she did treat her grandparents really, really badly, but you know, and even with saying that, I didn't really feel any sympathy for Icy, despite the fact that a lot of her acting out was in part to her condition with Tourette Syndrome. But I don't know, I think that really when it boils down to it, I just liked Icy. I really did. I really did like the character of Icy. She was a hot mess and I lived for it. This could be something that's just specific to my own perspective, but I really did. And I think that's mostly in part because I just had a good time cracking up and laughing at the scenarios that she was getting herself into over and over again with various other characters. You know, she spoke her mind and it was just so funny to me, and I can identify with that. Even in saying that, while the book was about Tourette Syndrome, a girl suffering from Tourette Syndrome, 95% of the time, I don't think that was even in play, to be honest with you. I think Icy was just slick at the damn mouth. She was not, her Tourette's, and she never fell back on that at all. You know, first it was undiagnosed, but even as the condition she was suffering through, she never fell back on that. So if she said what she had to say, she said what she had to say. But if it was something like her suddenly jumping into this spontaneous rhapsody of croaking into the air, then she understood that that was her condition. And maybe the two played against one another, you know, directly or indirectly. But at the same time, Icy, despite her condition, she knew what she was saying to every individual in this book. I mean, she was very conscious of that. So, and I don't know, I just really did like the character of Icy. With that said, I just want to go ahead and wrap this up by saying that I did enjoy this book. No, you know, if you're gonna pick this book up, just wow, it takes a special, I don't know, I don't want to say that either, but if you're gonna pick up this book, just understand that, you know, for me anyway, that I saw, it's not necessarily a book that's, while it is talking about Tourette Syndrome and a girl who's suffering from this in the 1950s in the rural Kentucky, it isn't necessarily a book with like a psychological, to me, or a even philosophical bend to it. You know, it's just showcasing this girl's condition and what she goes through and how hilarious she is at the same time. But that's it, guys. I am going to leave. This video was kind of somber, wasn't it? I don't know. Maybe because of the book. But, you know, whatever. We'll just move on to the next book. I just want to make sure I made a video about all the books that I read in August, I think. Okay, peace.